meetings in New York. The armed forces confirmed that only its spokesperson is the reliable source of its statements and information. And Iran says it will present a plan for Gulf security at the United Nations General Assembly. Welcome back. The details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi continued on Sunday his activities in New York ahead of the UN General Assembly meetings. The president is to take part in the International Climate Conference, which will be held on Monday. The head of state will give a speech before the conference, reviewing views by Cairo, Africa, and developing nations over climate change, one of the most pressing threats to the international community. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will position himself on the front line against climate change as he presides over the UN Emergency Summit. Africa is reportedly the hardest hit continent with the repercussions of climate change, though its output share of harmful gases is remarkably low compared to international levels. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is to take part in the 74th round of the UN General Assembly meetings. President al-Sisi is to deliver Egypt's statement before the general session of the UN and is scheduled to participate in the number of high-level sessions tackling crucial issues and challenges which are facing the international community. On the sidelines of the UNGA meetings, the head of state is to hold a series of summit talks with a number of world leaders and the government's leaders regarding a number of issues of mutual concern, also regarding the regional and international issues, in addition to African economy, social and development issues in the light of Egypt's chairmanship of the African Union. During his visit to Egypt, UNGA President Maria Fernanda Espinosa praised Egypt's active participation in various activities during the United Nations and International Multilateral Forum. Here is a close look at Egypt's participation in the United Nations General Assembly sessions.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participated for the 6th time in the UNGA since he assumed office in June 2014. Egypt's foreign policies have witnessed significant developments seen in the global and regional arenas. Egypt is a key player in fighting terrorism globally and boosting peace through its 30,000 soldiers' participation in UN peacekeeping missions, along with Egypt's efforts to solve Syrian, Palestinian, Yemeni and Libyan crises. In the war against terrorism, the UN Security Council adopted a draft resolution on terrorism that was drafted by Egypt. President al-Sisi's participation in the 69th, 70th, 71st, 72nd and 73rd sessions of the UNGA highlighted Egyptian foreign diplomacy through his speeches before UNGA leaders and participants. The agenda of the 73rd session of the General Assembly's meeting focused on development issues, preserving international security, fighting terrorism, and human rights. Egypt participated in the sessions in the presence of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, carrying on an agenda full of important international, regional, and national issues. The President explained Egypt's achievements in fighting terrorism, results of the comprehensive Operation Sinai 2018, and Egypt's vision of developments in the Middle East, especially in Palestine, Syria, and Libya. The Middle East issues came on top of Egypt's priorities, including the Palestinian cause, the Syrian crisis, situation in Libya and Yemen, combating terrorism, development in Africa, respect of international law and the protection of human rights, as well as the topics of peacekeeping and peace building. Meanwhile, the various leaders and presidents was also on President Sisi's agenda during his participation in the 73rd UNGA, as he discussed means of enhancing the bilateral relations between Egypt and these countries at various levels and in different fields. The head of state also discussed the developments of regional and international issues. The 74th session of UNGA are scheduled to be run from 17th to 30th of September. In a statement on its website, UNGA said the presidency of the 74th session was zoned to Africa in full respect of the established principle of geographical rotation, among other reasons. The current president, Maria Fernanda Espinosa, who is the foreign minister of Ecuador, was elected on June 5th and assumed duty on September 18, 2018. Thus, she will step aside on September 17th as the UNGA presidency runs on a one-year tenure.
On the sidelines of the preparations for the 74th round of the UN General Assembly, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry held a meeting at the headquarters of the permanent Egyptian delegation to the United Nations in New York with the diplomatic team there. The top diplomat will also meet with a number of US officials over means of boosting bilateral ties in all domains. His visit to New York will continue till the end of the month. The armed forces issued a statement on Sunday confirming that all statements and information issued by it come only through its official spokesperson. In its statement, the armed forces asserted that the former page of the armed forces spokesperson on Facebook and Twitter is the only reliable source of any information related to it. It called on all media channels and citizens not to follow any other sources to receive information related to the armed forces. The statement came on the heel of some rumors being circulated in social media channels and outlets and claimed its affiliation to the armed forces. In the same context, the State Information Service, or the SIS, called on international media agencies and its correspondents accredited in Cairo to abide by the internationally recognized professional rules when covering Egypt's news. The SIS said it said that as it was following with great concern what those world media agencies and channels had reported or published during the past 48 hours and called on world media correspondents to adhere to the media professional guidelines and rules. It expressed its readiness to cooperate with all correspondents and international media to give all access and information, to provide them with all facilities as long as the correspondents are committed to professionalism and credibility. Meanwhile, the Committee of Political Parties, Youth and Politicians released a statement earlier stressing that the people proved the full awareness of the mean ways used by the terrorist media to forge reality. The statement stressed that freedom of speech and expression is a constitutional right for every citizen, yet the Egyptians should carefully stop the evil forces and prevent them from using the freedom of speech as a tool to destroy the nation's stability. In another statement, the Egyptian Party's coalition called on people to play their usual national patriotic role to defend the country's security and stability against suspected calls launched by the terrorist group.